Want to get something off your chest? Interact with us in the live chat and WhatsApp us your messages on 0747 649 7166. This is The Black and White Show.
Hello, Newcastle Fans TV. Welcome back to this world of YouTube. Just 48 hours after we thrashed Bournemouth by 4-1, here we are with The Black and White Show. And later on, we will have a preview for the West Ham game on Sunday that will be led by Johnny. As you can see, the two guests, my two guests, are Lee and Sam. So, Lee, how are you doing?
I'm tired, Rob. I want to go to bed. It's a long day.
Yeah.
How are you?
You've been grafting. Oh, you've been grafting really hard, so that's massively appreciated as always. And Sam, how about you?
I'm fine. I mean, I'm tired. Of course I am. I've got a 3-week-old daughter, but I don't want to say I'm tired in front of Lee because at least I'm getting to bed before 3 this morning.
So, cracking on with the show, there's been lots in the news of late, and I suppose there's no better place to start than to say that the Takeover talk has woken from its slumber. We expected some sort of movement around now after the piracy court case concluded last week. Since then, it seems as though there are still some hurdles that need to be cleared before the door is left wide open for Staveley and Bin Salman and the Reuben brothers to walk through. However, Hatice Cengiz, the widow of the murdered journalist Jamal Khashoggi, has been in the news once again. There was a very interesting piece in the Daily Star when, in an interview, she actually addressed Newcastle fans. Previously, she's been in a dialogue with Premier League, but she has now turned her attentions to the fans. And it's not the quote I have is not on that is not on your screen, but the quote I have from the Daily Star interview that she did was that my problem is not with the fans of Newcastle United or the British people. My campaign is against the killers of my fiancée and the love of my life. And she goes on to say, dear Newcastle fans, I understand that you are frustrated with the current owner, but believe me, Mohammed bin Salman and the people around him are far worse. If the takeover happens, it may turn a bad dream into a horrific nightmare. So, Sam, what do you make of that she's been in the news once again, but this time interacting directly, trying to get a message directly to the Newcastle supporters?
I mean, it's all very well and good what she says, and there may be some elements of truth in it. But where's the consistency? Where's her moral outrage when it comes to them buying shares in Facebook? And I mean, I could reel off a list of companies and enterprises that they've invested heavily in over the past few months, and to little or no media attention at all. So there's just no real consistency. I mean, the Daily Star isn't how to be polite. It's not one of my highly respected go-to news outlets. I mean, it's probably came from a secondary source that they're reporting from, so I'd like to know where that's come from. But it just seems to be every week that we think progress is being made or we're coming round to getting an answer one way or another. Obviously, Richard Masters has been in the news this week as well, which I'm sure you'll come on to, but it's just so wearisome now that you just want to be put out of our misery either way.
I guess you just want a straight answer, yes or no, to this takeover. I guess that's more or less the case.
Well, I want a yes.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So if it becomes a horrific nightmare, like she says, in a few years' time, we cannot possibly say that we were not warned. So might it be a blessing in disguise if this takeover falls through?
That's not how I feel right now. Sam's been very polite about the Daily Star. The Daily Star fucking shite, I'll say it. And she's talking a load of bollocks. That's what she is. She's got an agenda. And it might not even be her who's actually giving the quote. It could be just a PR team who's pushing her. Who knows? We don't know. We never see her on camera. It's always written stuff. So I'm sick of it. I'm sick of her piping up and saying, oh, I've got confidence in the Premier League and all this sort of stuff. It's just coming out once every, what is it now? Once every 10 days, every 2 days. bore off, man. It's getting boring. Why aren't you complaining, like Sam says, about your Facebooks, your Disney, or Twitter? They've got the Saudis have got shares in Twitter, man. Can't complain about them, but it's because they're going to have 80% over a company which will be on TV worldwide known. Why isn't she piping up about others?
Well, if she's piping up about Twitter, I mean, she's only got 240 characters at most to land her, like, to say what she wants to say. So I can understand that.
If you
200,
No, you do what we
characters
do.
is
We
not
get
enough.
on Canva and make it look pretty and put it all on there. Come on. Basic schoolboy stuff.
Yeah, so we'll give Rob a lesson right
You're talking
now.
to the 2 Twitter admins, Rob. You're not going to
There
get
you
away
go,
with
Rob.
that.
This is how you do it, Rob. Right there on camera, right now. You condense it down, you see.
At Newcastle Fans TV, by the way, on Twitter.
Leading the way.
Well, it's been, as we know, it's been a few months now since the takeover. It arrived on the desk of the Premier League. And I believe you have a clip of Richard Masters talking about where the Premier League are with this takeover. So, Lee, take it away.
Yeah, Richard Masters talks about the takeover. Here it is.
I think you're really asking me to comment on a confidential process, and I simply can't do it. You're asking me to talk about something that I simply can't. All processes have to conclude, and I would like the process to conclude shortly. That's as far as I'm. There's no timetable within which the board, and it is the board that considers takeovers. There's no timetable set as part of the rules. There is no particular time frame these things normally take. Some takeovers are straightforward and others aren't. And asking me to comment on a confidential process, and I'm really sorry, but I can't talk about it. I'm talking generally, during my time at the Premier League, I'm not aware of government placing any pressure on the Premier League, one way or another, in relation to any takeover. Well, you're suggesting that we were put under pressure to go one way or another, and that has not happened. You were asking me to talk about it, but generally speaking, that has never happened.
And these were the thoughts of Richard Masters. Let's get some WhatsApps. Of course, as always on the Black and White Show, it's that same number that you use to contact us via WhatsApp. The number is, I can't remember off the top of my head, so there it is, 0747 649 7166 at the end. Okay, so do make sure you get those WhatsApps in. And now, whenever we've talked about this takeover on the Black and White Show, we always seem to round it off with how sure are we of the takeover going through eventually? So, Sam, I'll pitch that to you. How sure are you of the takeover going through? Now, that it just seems to have made a little bit of progress of late, but it's a further development at the moment.
So, everyone that you kind of look towards in the media circles are still relatively confident that they're expecting it to go through, essentially, which builds my confidence up. I don't think the Jamal Khashoggi thing's an issue. I think it's the piracy issue that's the fundamental one. Like Henry Winter said to me when we had him on the channel a month or so ago.
I was just about to say that.
Money over morals, and that's something that's stuck with me, and always will, because it's so true. So I'm still expecting it to go through. Percentage wise, 90%. I'd be amazed if it doesn't go through.
90%. I vaguely remember you used to be 95%.
Yeah, I was, but the thing is though, the longer it goes on, the more you do doubt yourself. I mean, 90% is still pretty confident.
And how about you, Lee? What percentage are you at? How sure are you of the takeover eventually coming through?
I think I'm still the same, but what was interesting there is that he wants it resolved soon, and we've never Richard Masters hasn't said that in the past, and I think from what I've looked into it the last 2 days or so is that something. I don't think it's negative because they're waiting on something from the PIF to prove that they can do it, because he's waiting on something's holding it up, and it's down to PIF to prove to the Premier League, whatever that is, whether it's the privacy rights or whatever. I think Richard Masters is getting frustrated. I think by the tone of his voice, that's the most frustrated I've seen him, but I think he's just waiting for that to come through. He's getting frustrated at it.
Yeah, because he keeps getting all these questions and he can't say anything because it is confidential. So he's just getting fielded the same questions over and over and over. And there's nothing he can say.
But the small leaks have came out where he says he wants it resolved soon. The other day he said he's just waiting for a small resolution on something. There's little things that are coming out, little bits. And I think there is something just holding it up where the Public Investment Fund have got to prove to the Premier League and then it's a done deal. So confident-wise, I'm still confident. I'll probably say I'm 80%.
I've always said it's just a case of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but then I've been saying that since April. So I'm either sounding like a broken record or just someone that doesn't really know what's going on. Now, we keep your comments coming in. Of course, I can see them on screen. Ryan Hartshaw says, end of the season, my guest. And James Quinnell, just a couple of moments ago, said he's thinking, he has a hunch that it might be tomorrow because that's when the pubs and clubs reopen here in England. So yeah, speaking of the whole Super Saturday, let's hope that this takeover will be confirmed, ideally tomorrow. But what's another day when we've had Mike Ashley in charge for 13 years? Keep your WhatsApps coming in. Have we got any coming through at the moment, Lee?
I haven't got it open because I thought we were going to do it towards the end of the half hour.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So moving on to...
Get your WhatsApp coming in, fire them in, and I'll read them out a little bit later. I'd say, there you go.
At about 9 o'clock-ish, yeah. So moving on to the next news story, some transfer news. Now, quite often when the transfer window reopens, many clubs see it as an opportunity to start doing some deals, finalising some deals. To Newcastle fans, though, it's just Wednesday. But we have actually made a move. We have a signing confirmed earlier today, I believe, although it was more or less in the pipeline throughout the week. Former youth team goalkeeper Mark Gillespie has rejoined the club from Motherwell. The Motherwell, they are around League One standard. I think they'd be capable of beating a certain team in the real League One. And Gillespie, he's been a first team regular for Motherwell for the last 2 years. So, guys, I guess where does this put Carl Darlow, Freddie Woodman? I guess we're assuming that Rob Elliott will be leaving the club once the season does finish. But Lee, what do you make of this signing, and what do you think of Carl Darlow and Freddie Woodman and what this signing means to them?
Well, in the clip that we've got in the moment, I ask you a question about one of the goalkeepers as well, so I'll hang on to that. So I'll answer some of that question for you because it'll spoil the surprise. I think it's a like for like. I just think it's more, I think Gillespie's a good field factor. It's a good story. Geordie coming home used to be pals of obviously Paul Dummett, so he knows Dummy well. Rob Elliott, obviously long-term servant. Shame that he's left the club, but he's 34. We're just bringing in a younger model, like for like, and Carl Darlow's got a year left on his deal now. It's a like for like, and I think Gillespie will try and push for the number 2 spot, and if he can play in the odd cup game, great. But I don't really see him pushing Martin Dubravka anytime soon, unfortunately.
And you have a clip, I believe, on the subject, so I'll leave you to take it away.
Yeah, Mark Gillespie has signed what we believe is a 3-year contract. So what do I know about him? He's going to be effectively competing with Carl Darlow as a second choice, third choice goalkeeper. So we know that Martin Dubravka's going to be number 1. We know that, unfortunately, Rob Elliott has left the club, which a long-term servant for 9 years. It's effectively a like-for-like. It's a younger replacement, 6 years younger than Rob Elliott. Local lad, another Geordie. Matty Longstaff does say there's 5 Geordies in that first team. And like I mentioned in the video earlier on the week, 18 months ago, we only had 1. And now we potentially might have 5, assuming Matty does stay. But Gillespie will come in. You'll not want to hang around to be third choice. You want to compete because Carl Darlow's only got a year left on his deal. But what I want to ask you lot back at home who are watching is, what do you do with Freddie Woodman? But also, Rob, I want you to answer what we do with Freddie Woodman and the guests. Back to you, Rob.
I was just before we get on to that, that was Lee reporting from his bathroom. And Lee, you're full of more shit than the true Geordie.
Do you know what it is, Rob? I edited a clip out because I was impersonating you in the bathroom. And I thought, no, I can't put that because you might get a little bit upset by it. So I trimmed that out. I was going, I'm just in the bathroom. I'm not sitting on the toilet. I'm not doing a Rob spiel. That's how the video began. I thought, no, I'll cut it out just in case.
My bathroom has really good acoustics. That's why I've only done it once or twice before. But yes, Sam, what do you make of this signing and what it leaves Freddie Woodman and his future at the club?
I mean, the signing. I mean, I saw the interview with Gillespie this evening. He's coming into this with his eyes wide open. He knows he's coming in to be third choice. He's not going to be playing very often, if not at all. He's the new Tony Cagg or John Carelsa. Also, you know, that's, for anyone over the age of 25, you'll know who they are. But in terms of Freddie Woodman, I think Steve Bruce said earlier this week that he wants to loan him out again next season. So that ties in nicely to when Carl Darlow's contract expires, which I'm not expecting it to be renewed. I mean, it might. He's a good backup, but he's never going to be challenging Dubravka, whereas Woodman, another season of complete first-team football in the Championship, or who knows, a newly promoted Premier League team perhaps next season, because he's done brilliant at Swansea this season. The season after that, he could clearly be challenging Dubravka for the number 1 shirt, as opposed to Darlow, who just isn't quite up to it. But another season loan. But of course, then you've got to sort out Woodman's contract, which I think is up at the end of next season as well. So I think that Bruce has kind of an idea of what he wants to do. It just depends whether everything will fall into place.
Do you think Woodman would really want another season on loan? I mean, I am talking another season on loan. He just keeps getting loaned out, and he's approaching the age now for a player that wants to settle down and cement his place in a team, in one team, for a matter of years. So, Lee, do you think he'll be frustrated at having at Steve Bruce wanting to loan him out again?
Definitely. I think when he was playing in the cup games last season, he probably thought this season he'd be number 2, but he's been loaned back out at Swansea. He's had a good season out at Swansea, and obviously he's hinted on that he might stay, and Bruce has now hinted, so it looks like that's going to happen. But the club won't allow him to leave with 12 months running down and then go out on loan. They won't allow that. They'll want him on another 12-month extension again, just to try and save some money. So it's a pain in the backside, but keepers do blossom late. That's the problem. I still think Freddie Woodman's got another level to go to. He needs to build out a little bit because he's still quite a thin-looking goalkeeper. But he's playing Championship level, another season in the Championship. If you're cashing in on him and that, I don't think you're going to get much, to be honest with you. I think he'll struggle to get more than 5 million. Same as Carlo.
Yeah, I mean, we see some comments. I saw some comments coming in earlier. Someone wanting Shaka Hislop back in goal. And I'll
have his goalkeeper cops back, mind.
Yeah. Amazing. It was the goalkeeper shirts with the Time Bridge on them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Freddie is a number 1 in the making. Yeah, and I've seen there was also a comparison between him and Sheffield United's Dean Henderson on loan from Man United. I'll be honest, I think Henderson, I know it's one for another video, but I think Henderson is even capable of challenging David De Gea for the number 1 shirt at Man United. So, controversial opinion. But one thing I want to finish on with Gillespie is that I noticed that in the 2018-19 season, he made 4 penalty saves.
2 in one game.
Two of them came in one game, of course. But I'm just sort of thinking that gives me some hope for him playing in the cup competitions quite so often when games do go to a penalty shootout if needed. So do you think he would, Sam, do you think he would be one for the cups, do you think, rather than challenging for number 1 ahead of Dubravka?
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of games he's probably expecting to play as opposed to the league, barring a major injury crisis. But then again, you say Bruce wants to take the cup competition seriously. I know he played Darlow at the weekend and whatnot. But you would think if we get a nice plum draw in the Carabao or the early stages of the FA Cup, he'd be given a run out, and it's always a good attribute to have for a goalkeeper, because you never know when you're going to need him.
Yeah, of course. So that is the signing of Mark Gillespie, and welcome to the club if you're watching. So let's move on to our next story and talk about this one player who he's absolutely loved in our private chats that we have. He especially has a number one fan in Paul Rutter, and if you haven't worked out who it is yet, it's Christian Atsu, who of course he's been out of favour. He is not featured since the win over Oxford in February. Lee, quite simply, does Christian Atsu have a future at the club?
No, he doesn't. Have we missed him? No. Have you noticed performs better? Yes. I've always said that when Atsu loses his pace, he'll be converted to a left back when he's in his 30s. I still think that'll happen because defensively he's better and going forward. I know he's got some mad 4 or 5 assists, which is mental, but Atsu's not first team quality, and I think we do have a problem with a lot of backup wingers, not just him. You talk about Rolando Aarons and you talk about Jacob Murphy. I think we've got a lot of average wingers, unfortunately. I would even, and I'll still pick this argument with Johnny because I know he's in the comments, I'll still have Rolando Aarons over as Christian Atsu. I just do not rate Christian Atsu. He's a good grafter, but that's all he is.
Of course, Paul absolutely, I'll let it slip. He absolutely despises Christian Atsu, and I'll be honest, it actually surprised me when I did my research on this and found out that he hasn't played since that win over Oxford in February, because Paul often brings him up so much recently that I forgot that Atsu actually hasn't played. But of course, his contract expires next year. Paul will be pleased to know that it's less than a year because it expires on the 30th of June next year. Sam, what sort of asking price should we ask for Atsu without sounding too greedy in the summer? That's assuming he will be out the door in the summer.
We could have left in January, couldn't he? I thought he had a late.
He was on the verge of leaving.
Yeah.
Blackburn?
Yeah, it was on the same day that Aarons went to Motherwell on loan. But yeah, I can't remember who it was, but Atsu was on the verge of leaving, but something or other got in the way at the 11th hour.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably take 5 million for him. I mean, that's probably fair enough. I think he's perfectly capable in the Championship. I actually didn't mind him in our Championship season. Worked hard, scored some goals, got some assists, played some nice stuff in a good Championship side. I remember saying to my mates at the end of that season when we were mooted to be signing him on a permanent, I said I wouldn't have him on a permanent at all. He's not Premier League. He's just a solid run-of-the-mill Championship attacker. So there's just such a lack of squad depth we've got in the attacking department, which needs sorting and sorting this summer because a couple of injuries. If Saint-Maximin gets injured, which is a severe possibility given he's played every game so far and he's not really being looked after, our goal threat becomes almost null and void. So, there needs to be, the squad depth needs a bit of an upheaval.
And of course, yes, it does seem to be that he was linked with Blackburn, and Paul, he'll be disappointed with that, saying Blackburn's too close. I mean, I think even still Wellington Phoenix in New Zealand would be too close for comfort. But funny enough, you should say £5 million for him because Transfer Market currently rates him at 4.3 million. So close enough there, and I think that's definitely worth cashing in on, considering his contract is up next year. And despite being a backup, Lee, is he still worth replacing for a first-team player, considering we also have ASM and Almiron as first-team wingers? Yeah,
those two need competition as great as what they are. But you need competition, and it makes you better. Any walk of life, if you're at work, if we're on YouTube, competition makes us better. So I just think that the squad depth, as I mentioned, you've got the two lone lads, Aarons and Murphy. They're probably on the same level as Atsu. Maybe I'm being maybe a little bit injustice, but they're all similar-ish kind of level players. There's no one you look at who come off the bench and think, right, he's going to threaten, he's going to change the game. We need to get rid of all three and realistically, and then use those wages to go and get another winger. Because then you can play around with Almiron, you can play around with Saint-Maximin. You don't have to keep him playing out wide. You can give Bruce more options, but all three out the door.
Yeah, similar players to Atsu. I mean, could include Freiburg's Vincenzo Grifo, who's had a fantastic season in the Bundesliga, but he's very much at home. He's spoken publicly how he loves working under Christian Streich in Germany. Got Sajis Adamyan from Hoffenheim, who, funnily enough, was really Joe Linton's replacement at Hoffenheim. And also, I'd even take Christian Teo from Real Betis, who came up through the Barcelona ranks. But so someone who would be available in the bargain basement, if you like.
Delafau, I would love it. If we can get Gerard Delafau, there you go.
That would be a masterstroke. Certainly worth going for if Watford go down. That would be a real biggie. But I'll be honest, I can't see Watford going down, not now. But that's for another video.
Only 1 point.
Moving from the left wing, we will move over to central midfield now. And Matty Longstaff, Lee, I believe you have a clip regarding the news on Matty Longstaff. So take it away.
I just want to ask you about the other Longstaff as well. Matty Longstaff not even on the bench. Do we read anything into that?
No, not at all. It's just that we took 19. We took 19, so unfortunately Matty's missed out. And I hope that we can still resolve it with the kid, and we'll see what develops. But I've left Mutu at home, and I've left Atsu at home, and so we can only bring, because of the squad numbers and the playing and coaches, and you can only bring so many players. I would love to have brought them all, but not possible.
He would have loved to have brought them all, but Matthew Longstaff still missed out on the bench the other day on Wednesday. Of course, his contract is up, and there's been transfer rumours going around that he might be joining Udinese or Watford via Udinese. Sam, what do you make of Matty Longstaff and the contract situation that's still ongoing?
This situation's given me nightmares. It is giving me nightmares. The sleep I get at night, I'm waking up in the middle of the night going, "Sign it, Matty, sign it." But it's just absolutely. This frustrates me more than the takeover. It really does, because we've got a proper little gem there. He's not getting enough minutes as what he should be getting. Has he started a game since? Has he started a league game since Wolves away in January? I'm not so sure. That's one for you, Rob.
I don't think so.
Obviously, I don't remember
seeing him starting.
So the Bentaleb one was completely pointless. It's all right, fine. He played all right the other night, but great. It's just stunted his development. How he's not signed. The longer it goes on, I've got to be like, hand on heart, I think he's going to leave. And I hope that means in about a minute's time, a tweet comes out from Newcastle's official Twitter feed saying that he's penned a 6.5-year deal or whatever, and prove me massively wrong, because I would love it. But I can just think, obviously he had the meeting today, which I tweeted out earlier, with Steve Bruce in a kind of last-ditch attempt to get him to pledge his future. But I don't know, I just can't see it. I'm just so worried. How long has this situation's been going on? Nigh on all season, and it's July now. So I can make an argument for him wanting to stay as well, because obviously he's not done what Fraser did at Bournemouth. He's signed his short term to get to the end of this playing season for the next few weeks at least, and he's been in the stands. It's very funny. He's been in the stands at games he's not played in. So
to make or break, Sam, today. From what Keith Downey said today, to make or break, because you're coming up towards, it's the beginning of July. You're in these last 3 weeks of his extended deal as well. I mean, how many more meetings realistically that you're going to have scheduled? Because it takes forever just to schedule a meeting. So you might get one more. But I think today you've got to look at it and think, hopefully it's good news. I would love to know what it is, of course. Would love to be on the fly on the wall. What's really the issue? Is it the player side? Is it the agent? Because I know they've switched agents. Or is it the club? We don't know. I'm staggered to think that he wants out. I cannot.
Hmm.
North Shields lad, breaking through. He's got his dream debut in awe of stars around him, because there might not be stars to us fans, but Matty, the people who are around him are stars. And I just cannot imagine that lad wants out of his boyhood club. I just
not for Udinese. They're not even doing that great in Italy.
Not happening.
I will ask you the same question, and I want you to answer it as honestly as you can, starting with Lee. Matty stays, yes or no?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think
Sam?
I think he will, but just before Sam answers, I think his head will also match his heart eventually.
And Sam, Matty stays, yes or no?
No, but I hope I'm wrong. I so hope I'm wrong.
But yes, get your comments in down below. It's all about the money, says Elliot Caswell. Yes, that's the way modern football seems to be going nowadays.
He's saying money though, but
on.
he hasn't asked for the world, has he? He's asked for what, 30 grand a week?
And you've got rid of Colback's wages.
Allegedly.
Colback's out
give it the lad.
Colback's gone. There you go.
And he needs a massive upgrade on Colback as well.
Yeah.
And so we move on from the senior team to the women's team. And Lee, you have a clip from Paul, who has the latest on the women's team. So, Paul, take it away.
And it's a return for a very, very familiar face. Yes, today the club have announced that Laura Wareham has returned. She was at the club for 6 years before she broke her neck. She broke her neck actually twice, which is absolutely unbelievable. Second signing was a defender. This time it's for Rachel Woolston, and she's signing from SAFC. I can't take myself to say the full name from the ladies' side there. Into midfield, another signing. This time it is for Shanna Wilkinson, previously at Sunderland RTC. She's from South Shields. She again has come back from an ACL injury. She's missed quite a lot of football for in the past 2 years. Newcastle have completed the signing of forward Katie Barker. Again, she comes in having connections down at Sunderland, but she's originally from Wallsend. Used to be an England under-17 squad player. She's also played for the England colleges side as well. Now, she is not very big, not very tall, but very, very quick and can score goals. I've just been speaking to the Newcastle manager, Becky Langley, and she is delighted. I think everybody in the club, from the supporters to the coaching staff to the management team, has certainly got their eyes fixed on having a much better season this season.
Thank you very much, Paul. And of course, Paul has developed a really good relationship with the women's team, and we love those updates. And hopefully, going into next season, our relationship with the women's team will continue to thrive. So yeah, that stuff is on NFTV Extra. Go and have a look at that after this video. Why not? And just to round off this part of the show, let's finish by talking about Daniel Campos, who is the agent of Miguel Almiron. Some fairly concerning news today. The agent, as always, as we see with so many top players, they often stir up news just to try and look for a bit of a payday. But he's revealed the possibility that Almiron is in talks with Atletico Madrid. Anything in this story, if there's any light in this, anything in this story suggests that it is at a very early stage. So a lot of hurdles need to be jumped, a lot of time for it to possibly fall through. But Sam, what do you make of this situation in the fact that it is agent doing the talking, not Miggy himself?
Yeah, I hate stories like these because all they make you do is worry. We saw it today, not just with Almiron, but with ASM as well. This is the problem. If this takeover doesn't go through, then we're going to struggle to keep hold of our players. I mean, most of it is probably media spin and agents trying to put the feelers out to kind of get a move and get a payday for themselves to get their 20%. But then I just hate stories like this. It as I say, it just makes you worry. Bruce poo-pooed both and said they're unavailable. So, but that's what he's going to do anyway. But I don't know whether you two saw this as well, but I saw the figure quoted for Almiron today. He's got a release clause of 35 million. That seemed low to me. I can't remember who tweeted it out. Might have been Mark Douglas. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But Hey,
what's he worth?
35.
I think it's probably around up 35.
I'd want more than that, seeing as though we
Oh,
signed
what
him
more?
for...
If you look at him, he's a lad who's got 7 goals all season. I know he works hard and does the easy stuff, but 7 goals, 35 million, that's not a bad return, if that is true.
I'd say considering what he brings to the team, 35 million is the bare minimum that I would take if there was no release clause in there. But Lee, Miguel Almiron, of course, he has some sort of affinity with the fans now, since his 2020 keeps getting better and better. But I can't deny that Atletico Madrid is a step up to Newcastle.
Of course it is. I can see why his players, these agents linking him to Atletico Madrid, because when you think of Simone, it's not an attacking team. It's very much a workman-like quality players. It's from the defence going forward, not the other way around. And Almiron would suit that. He'd be great on the counter. He's great for working hard. Can I say that just yet? I don't think he's at Atletico's level, unfortunately. Miggy's great for us. But going to the elite, because you think about Atletico Madrid, that's the elite. Right at the top of La Liga, playing championship, did I just say? Champions League football knockout stages towards the back end. You're talking quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. Miggy's not that level yet. And not maybe if he got 14, 15 goals a season, maybe. But for me, Almiron's not that level, unfortunately. He's great for us, but he's not that standard.
Atletico Madrid, one of the teams with one of the best defences in La Liga, but also that comes at the cost of very few goals as well. They're amongst the lowest scorers in La Liga. And Jane Atlanta says, when Miggy was here and leaving, all we heard was it's the Premier League or nothing. And he can't see him leaving the Premier League. So
interesting.
I really hope that's true. John B says, I would want 50 plus. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this section. So Lee, do we have any WhatsApp messages?
We've got a few come through. I want to apologise straight away if your number is shown. We can't control that, so we do apologise once again. We've had a few come through. So Rob, can you see this, or would you like me to read this out?
Yeah, I can just about make it out. So Rowan has said, I'm personally worried on finding out that Miggy has a release clause in his contract, and obviously we know that Perez had one, which makes me think that ASM has one, and it better be around 200 million. Oh, I like the ambition there, but I think especially when it comes to your best players, of course, when they are capable of that step up, like what Miggy is to a bigger club, you're going to have to accept that release clauses really are a thing, and they're impossible to ignore. Richard Unknown says, Richard Masters getting grilled by the MPs the other day. It looked very good for us, and very good for us, I reckon. Just still a waiting game. I guess patience is a virtue in this. And our regular Lawrence Taylor says, if Woodman wants game time, let him go out on loan with a year's extension, then see if he's happy to be back up after Darlow leaves next year. But if Woodman were to leave permanently for game time, which I think he does, then just let him. Yeah, I mean, I think the signing of Mark Gillespie certainly might hinder his development on that front. I'd take a bag of Haribo for Atsu. Yeah, I think Paul would as well. I'm not sure if Paul actually likes Haribo as well. We have from Unknown. I would loan Freddie Woodman to Celtic or Rangers. Get some good Europa League football experience there. Play Gillespie in pre-season game to see how he gets on. Yeah, I guess it's just a case of trial and error. But I would say that yes, Celtic, they are a step up to the likes of Swansea, but surrounded in a league surrounded by League One quality, lower Championship, and we know a team that can't even make a success out of that sort of level. And finally, John says, "Hey lads, hope everything's doing well." Yes, it is. With what's going to happen with players going off, and still no news on the so-called takeover. We need this to happen so bad, because if it don't, all our top players will be going, and the likes of ASM, Longstaff, and Miggy. Yeah, this takeover could well be dependent on securing the futures. What do you guys make of that? Do you think there is a future for those players if the takeover falls through? If Mike Ashley's still the owner of the club in another 5 years' time? We'll start with you, Sam.
Of course, there's a future for him, but the problem is the old ambition issue comes to the fore again. And whilst I'm on that, with release clauses, 2 words for you: Denver Bar. It's not the first time we've set stupidly low release clauses.
You know what I thought you was going to say? I've got 2 words for you. Look it!
Not quite. No. But no, yeah, Bar, Perez. Did Kabay? No, I don't think Kabay did have a release clause, but yeah, definitely Bar and Perez. So it's a Newcastle / Lee Charnley thing to do, to stick a stupid release clause in there.
It's ASM that you're worried about. It's ASM, isn't it?
Oh wow!
Because he's having a fantastic second half of the season, and for me, he's the best player in the second half of the season without a shadow of a doubt. And you're just worried in case a stupid bid comes in from one of the big 5 or 6 teams. And would he stick around? If the takeover happens, I think he will, but that's me only worry. If a £60 million bid came in for Alan saint-maximin, I think the club would accept it. I hate to say that, but if the takeover doesn't happen...
Well, that's the argument. God help us if he finds some end product and the takeover doesn't go through, because then that's it. He's out the door.
I'll be honest, and it's not often that I would do this, but I'm going to cut Lee Charnley some slack, and hear me out on this one. I don't think release clauses are that much of a bad thing. I mean, look at Jose Perez. We bought him for £3 million, £2 million. It's loose change nowadays. And we ended up selling him thanks to a release clause of 35 million, a profit of nearly 100%. Well, several, many 100%. I can't really do the math that quickly in my head. But for that much profit, and also ASM to have that much profit as well attached to it. And in my experience, I find on Football Manager that it's the agents that are demanding release clauses being put into contracts, not the players themselves, and it's not managing directors caving in. It's more or less agents demanding to have a release clause in there. So I'm going to cut Lee Charnley some slack on, but yes, we will take a short break very, very soon, and when we come back, we'll be previewing Sunday's game between ourselves and West Ham United, so don't go anywhere.
You're watching the Black and White Show with Newcastle Fans TV.
I'm here, joined by Lee and Owen, and we're going to discuss our new sponsor for Newcastle Fans TV, Beer 52. What have you got there, Owen?
It is a box full of beer from our sponsors, Beer 52. Amazing quality stuff.
And how did you go about getting such marvellous beer?
I just visited the link that we have in our description. It's called beer52.com/NFTV. Just sign up, £5.95 for a box full of beer. What more could you want? Great for cans.
Now, it's the largest beer tasting club, if you like, Lee. What are you drinking there?
So I've had just the one so far, but my box arrived yesterday. The first thing I noticed about it was all the colourful cans. I was like, ooh. I was opening all these up, and I've got one called Puffin Tears, and it comes from Cornwall IPA, 5%, which is a nice rounded figure for a nice beer. White and green is that one, so I've tasted that one. I can't wait to tuck into the others, but I do need to keep some, Sam, for Takeover. I'm trying to hold on. I'm really am.
What better way to get ready for hashtag cans than visiting beer52.com/NFTV? Although I don't think it'll hurt to crack one open now. I've gone for the Tiny Rebel Lazy Boy Lager, 4.3, so it's a session lager. Let's give it a go. Owen, what else have you got there inside your Beer 52 package?
Well, I've got a magazine called Ferment. Did you get the pun? Yeah, brilliant little magazine. Read through, you can find out all sorts in here. like beer creation. Fantastic. Also, just before I whip out one of my cans, got the Two Tribes Electric Circus American Pale Ale, only 4.7%. So, obviously, if you don't want to get too drunk, just have one of those, chill out, relax in the sun, and enjoy #cans.
Absolutely. Lee, what better way to get yourself ready for cans than have beer arriving on your door every month?
Especially with the pubs on open at the moment. So you can have beer delivered to your front door, which is mint. You can also use your cans whenever you want. You can use it if you're going to watch Newcastle because you can't attend the games. You can watch them behind closed doors. And the great thing about it, what I like about it, it's not a contract. You can cancel your subscription whenever you like.
You certainly can. Join the nation's biggest beer tasting club at beer52.com/NFTV.
Broadcasting live across YouTube and across Newcastle Fans TV's social media, this is The Black and White Show.
Hello everyone, welcome back to The Black and White Show here on Newcastle Fans TV. Rob Spurrill's taking a break from presenting and giving it to me. Very kind, Rob. And I've also got Sam Milner along with the ride for the West Ham. Well, you're too kind, aren't you? It's the West Ham preview on the second part of on the Black and White. I'm going to keep
interrupting you.
Do you want to press that leave button for me? That's all right in the background. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
I asked for that, didn't I? Yeah.
Remember, get your WhatsApps in. It's 07476 497 166. You're guaranteed your message read out at the end of the show. If you WhatsApp us, you can't 100% guarantee it through the comments on Facebook or Twitter. But WhatsApp, it's dead easy. Quick text, and you watch the show, and you get to enjoy everything with me, Sam, and Rob. Very easy. Remember, you can also, as we've seen through the adverts, Beer52, massive sponsor. If you want 8 cans of $5.95, which is basically just the postage, like what Sam has there, the Lazy Boy, then I would fully recommend it. Also, like to thank our other sponsors, 3 Retro. So if you want classic football tops like Sam and Rob have, give them a look. And also, Amazon have got 4 live Premier League matches. It's just been announced what their last game is. It's Sheffield United versus Everton. But they've also got Watford versus Newcastle. So that is something that you want to be looking forward to next Saturday lunchtime, 12:30 kickoff on Amazon Prime. It's completely free. So here we go. We're going to talk about West Ham United on Sunday on Sky Sports. But obviously, all the best reactions with Newcastle Fans TV, of course. Rob, we'll touch about West Ham first, and then we'll go into Newcastle. Leave the best till last, of course. A big win for West Ham, 3-2 over Chelsea. David Moyes getting his first win in what seems like a very long time, obviously including lockdown as well. I thought they were quite impressive, actually. I thought they didn't look like a side that hadn't won many games in 2020.
Yeah, I think what impressed me most about that win over Chelsea was the character that the team showed, because of course they went ahead with Souček, and that goal was disallowed for offside. Then they went and conceded a penalty. They went behind from that penalty. And in so many cases, in similar cases, how many times have we seen teams just let their heads drop and they go and lose by a cricket score? So for them to not only get back into the game, but also win it at the last, I think that shows great character, and certainly something to be fearful of, I'll be honest.
Yeah, of course. And Sam, you've got, is it the best time to play West Ham? Because I think the fact that they've managed to get that win and get that monkey off the back, it's almost like, right, we're going to go to Newcastle, we're going to beat Newcastle. Newcastle sitting mid-table, got nothing to play for. Perfect time to play Newcastle. Do you think that could work in our favour?
I don't know. It's a tricky one. I've got a bit of a bad feeling about Sunday, to be honest. West Ham's a team we normally do okay against, particularly at home. Obviously, we beat them at their place this season. It might be a good time to play them because, it's the game after the Lord Mayor's show, if you like. They might be on a bit of a come down. We do have to be wary of them because they've got a great squad. How they're down there, I do not know. Some quality players like Yarmolenko, who got the winner, didn't he, the other night. It's going to be a tough game. They're fighting for their lives. I just hope we can get another 3 points, because who knows then where we could end up this season.
I think you might be able to hear my mum in the background, so I think she's just made an appearance. No, in all seriousness, talking about West Ham, Rob. Obviously, Sam's feeling a bit anxious. Do you think David Moyes has got a poison chalice of a job? Obviously, you see the table, the 3 points above Aston Villa in the bottom three. The fixtures they've got on paper aren't too bad, but I don't know. With West Ham, you don't know what sort of West Ham are going to turn up.
I'm not sure about calling the job a poison chalice sort of job. I just think a lot of the damage that they've had in recent years, the last year or so, has been more or less self-inflicted. They pressed the self-destruct button, and I think they've placed too much reliance on Declan Rice. I mean, it was only 4 years ago that they reached the Europa League thanks to Slaven Bilic, and they ended up just as soon as the form hit the rocks, he goes and gets sacked, which I think was a bad move. And since then, they've really struggled and have sort of been trying to clamber away from the relegation zone since then.
I think my mum's becoming the star of the show, and she's only been speaking in the background about
Does she think we'll beat West Ham on Sunday?
Well, she's not in the room. I'll ask her next time she comes in. No, but let's continue with David Moyes, Sam. Obviously, Rob's had his say about the Hearts. Maybe it's not a poison chalice, and that he's basically trying to see if he can get a good job out of West Ham, because I think obviously he was at Sunderland, he was at Real Sociedad, and obviously he failed at Manchester United, which is almost impossible to take over Sir Alex Ferguson. But for him to continue to be West Ham manager, do you think he has to keep them in the division?
Oh, almost certainly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was an argument there that they shouldn't have got rid of him the first time round. But, you know, they've invested heavily. I went with Pellegrini, you know, fair enough, although it didn't finish well. Yeah, he's got to keep him up. There's no two ways about it. I think after that win in midweek, they probably will stay up. But that game against Villa, they've got Villa last game of the season. My word, that could be winner take all. So I'll have my fingers firmly crossed for West Ham that day. But as Sunday goes, yeah, Mikel Antonio is his form has turned West Ham's season around. They had a bit of a Joe Linton in Haller, and now Antonio's up front. They look a lot more threatening.
They do look a lot more threatening, but I think one player that I'd like to mention who hasn't played a lot for West Ham, Rob, is Andrei Yarmolenko. But every time I've seen him play, he seems to have some sort of involvement. Like last year, he scored against Manchester United, and it was a deflection, but he scored against Manchester United. He scored a couple against Everton, and he's obviously scored the winner against Chelsea. Is he the main danger, or do you agree with maybe Mikel Antonio? He does a lot of running, but he's not an out-and-out number 9, is he?
You're right. He's not an out-and-out number 9, but I think the big thing with Yarmolenko, now I've noticed this for years when he played for Dynamo Kiev all those years ago, that he's a very one-footed winger, and he can be very dangerous, of course, but he is a bit on the injury-prone side, so much so that it would be very dangerous. It would be like having ASM in our team, but ASM gets injured every 5 matches. It would just be like that. They would place a lot of reliance on him if he was able to start regularly, but his injury proneness, if that is a word, has been a huge hindrance in his development. And I think he is a good fit at West Ham. And as we saw the other night, came off the bench to deliver that hammer blow, if you pardon the pun, to Chelsea. No pun intended. Realised as soon as I said it. But yeah, Yarmolenko, terrific player, and he will be certainly up for grabs if West Ham go down by Premier League club size.
Do you think you'll go down? Do you think West Ham will go down, Rob?
Sadly not. Only on the basis that I just think there are 3 teams worse than them, and I think they're simply the 4th worst team in the division. Aston Villa, Bournemouth, and Norwich are just worse, I think.
Yeah. Sam, 2 questions. What's the beer like for first? Let me have a quick swig.
Lovely. I would definitely recommend. I've signed up to Beer 52 on the back of our sponsorship with him. My second delivery came yesterday. It's belting.
And you certainly can too. Pardon the pun.
Hashtag
well, no, I won't pardon it.
Hashtag cans could be very soon. Beer 52 is the best place to get your best cans, of course. And obviously another CLS, although CLS says hashtag cans, hopefully, fingers crossed. Sam, do you agree with Rob? Do you think maybe Villa and Bournemouth are just that bad that West Ham, even though they're not that good, might just stay up?
Bournemouth are gone. I mean, that if ever a team looked dejected and accepting of relegation, that was them. They made us look like Barcelona at times the other night. My word, I could not believe it was a far run cry from the Bournemouth side we saw at St James's in November. It was such a stark contrast. I know we did play well, to be fair, but I couldn't believe how poor Bournemouth were. So I think they're gone with Norwich, and then it's obviously between three: Villa, West Ham, and Watford, who have I thought would be picking up more points than what they have done.
I agree.
Lately. But I think it will all come down to that West Ham versus Aston Villa game last day of the season.
Well, Rob, I was going to ask you about all the head-to-heads with Newcastle and West Ham, but there's a fantastic graphic on screen which says that Newcastle and West Ham have pretty much shared the spoils. We look from 2014-15, West Ham beat Newcastle after Newcastle won a fantastic winning streak on Alan Pardew, which seems like a long time ago. But then Newcastle managed to win 2-0 on the last day of the season. Who can forget that Gutierrez goal to give Newcastle all 3 points? And since then, it's been evenly matched. West Ham have won the odd game, Newcastle have won the odd game, but generally, Rob, Newcastle tend to do well against West Ham.
Yeah, it's when we play them at home, it's I'd say with the exception of last season, it's often been a game where our home advantage has seen us through. But however, we don't really have a home advantage on Sunday with the no fans being there. But yeah, if you read my article, you'll have seen that in our history against West Ham, they've only won 10 times at St James's Park, and we've been playing them for well over 100 years now. So certainly St James's Park is a power place for them to come to. And that even includes what this fixture turned out last year. So, I mean, hopefully we'll see a repeat. Not of last season. See a general repeat of what happened on Sunday, because that this fixture last season, it was bloody awful, wasn't it?
It was. I was actually ill, so I was actually in the house and I was watching Soccer Saturday. And I could, do you know when you just know when Newcastle haven't scored? And I was just like, yeah, we're definitely not winning this game today. And I just, to be honest with you, the mood matched me. I was awful. We've got a clip from yours truly, from Maiden Tyne and Weir Lee, whenever you're ready.
Steve Bruce was over the moon with his side's 4-1 win over Bournemouth as the Magpies continue their impressive restart to the season.
The quality and our play and we're finishing. We were right at it from the first 5 minutes, which I was delighted with. So it's worked out a very, very good night for us, and I was very, very pleased to watch it. And arguably our best performance of the season. You're going to enjoy watching him. He's such a naturally good footballer. And yesterday, I wasn't planning on starting him because he's already played 3 games. To play 4 in 11 days, I thought maybe it's too much. But he bounced into training yesterday, and he was full of himself. So I said, why not let him? Let's see if we can get another out of him. And he was terrific.
It wasn't just the manager that was delighted with the Magpies' performance, as fans were left mesmerised by Alan Saint-Maximin's impact and improvement since Sunday's game against Manchester City.
Dwight Gale, who missed a glorious chance in the second half against Manchester City, only took a few minutes to silence all the doubters with a fantastic finish after a great work rate from Sean Longstaff and a fantastic pass from Alan Saint-Maximin. Not the first time you'll hear that in this clip. Gale made it 1-0 after just a couple of minutes, and Newcastle were in really good control. Fantastic movement throughout the team, and Joe Linton, Dwight Gale, Sean Longstaff in particular, who got the second goal, looked really, really comfortable. And ASM's magic through the Bournemouth fullback, dancing through with his trickery, laid it on a plate for Sean Longstaff to make it 2-0. He was shortly replaced after looks like a muscle strain, or he might have pulled maybe a hamstring. which probably is a bad thing for Sean Longstaff because I think he would have got a little bit of a run in the team. But Newcastle were comfortable, 2-0 up at half time, and it was just more of the same in the second half. It was
nice
just
exercise.
more.
Oh, sorry. Nice exercise bike in the background, Johnny. I bet that gets as much action as Carl Darlow does.
Hey, I've been using that, especially in lockdown.
Really? I wouldn't have
Another
known.
big question in that. I know that. He's trying to dig me out here. Try to dig me out. Just wait next time, Rob Spiro. No, the big question, obviously, in that 2 minutes was, what does my mum think Newcastle are going to win? And she says yes. She thinks Newcastle are going to beat West Ham, so there you go. Right, well, let's talk about Newcastle going into this game, lads. Newcastle in the Premier League are playing pretty well, Sam, and obviously 2 wins and a draw. Newcastle fear no one, really. I looked at the West Ham game before we obviously played the likes of Sheffield United and Villa and Bournemouth and gone, that's a game I kind of expect Newcastle to get 3 points. That hasn't changed in my opinion. Has it changed in your opinion?
No. Cast your minds back. We were stood outside the Hawthorns and I said I wouldn't be looking at Southampton at the weekend thinking we're going to win that. So straight away that shows you what I know. I said I'd be looking at Villa, West Ham and Spurs all at home. So that's probably another reason why we're not going to win, because we didn't beat Villa either. But there you go. But it's 100% one of the games I'd be looking at for 3 points and really targeting. But of course now with so many games in so few days, it's not just about on the day, is it? It's how you manage your squad and what players are fit, what players can come in to freshen your side up, who needs to be rested, who's got a knock. So it's just not that simple.
It's never simple, Rob, when Newcastle play at any time. Obviously, the perfect quote is by the late Sid Waddell. You could beat Barcelona on a Monday but lose to Blythe Spartans on a Tuesday. But we're going into this game with a lot of confidence. The main man has to be saint-maximin, Rob. He is really on fire at the minute. A lot of people, including myself, think that he should play, even if it's just an hour, 70 minutes against West Ham, and not start him at all against Manchester City. Do you completely agree, or do you think that you should try and play as many games as possible?
I completely agree. I mean, look at Bournemouth. He was a doubt to start that. We were expecting him to maybe start on the bench at the very best. And look what he did in the space of the first hour of the game. Absolutely wreaked havoc, caused devastation. I just think, yeah, if he can play, if he can start on Sunday, and then hopefully we can get the job done in the space of an hour, like we did on Wednesday, then we can rest him a little bit more. But yeah, ASM, I just think start him and go from there.
Yeah, he is the man in form, Sam. Get your comments in on WhatsApp, of course, 07476 497166. Tell us how good ASM is, because he has been absolutely brilliant. Could ASM be the difference against West Ham, Sam? Because both of these teams don't have, I like to call it, a lot of quality. But if ASM's on it, like he has been against Bournemouth and Sheffield United, and even to a lesser extent Aston Villa, Newcastle could potentially nick this 2-1, for example.
Yeah, he is the difference. But it depends whether he does play. I wouldn't have played him against Bournemouth. But listening to Steve Bruce after the Bournemouth game, it almost made him sound like a racehorse. That he let us know he was tired after the game against Man City, and then he was quiet for a day. Then he came out kind of bouncing, and he expressed his desire to play. So he needs taken out at some point. He cannot play every game. It's impossible for him to play every game. Whether that rest comes on Sunday or whether you kind of just accept defeat on Wednesday against Manchester City.
You don't want to accept defeat against any team, Sam, but Man City are Man City, and even you saw what they did to Liverpool yesterday. You know, it wouldn't be a disgrace even if Newcastle lost 2-0 to Man City the way they're playing at the minute.
Yeah. So this is why Steve Bruce is paid. It didn't happen. He got his selection wrong against Villa, in my opinion, which led into the Manchester City game, which was a calamity of errors. So again, this is another game leading into Manchester City. What kind of team do you pick? I'd like to see Lazaro get a start. Maybe, all right, you bring on ASM for the last half an hour as an impact player.
What?
Do you start Carroll? Do you keep?
Is that for Man City or West Ham?
West Ham.
Oh, what? You wouldn't start ASM against West Ham?
It depends. No, I'm making an argument because I wouldn't have started him against Bournemouth. He needs a rest at some point. Otherwise, he's going to get injured. And then he's out for Christ knows how long. So he cannot play every game. It is impossible.
No, I get that, but Rob, surely you play him against a team like a West Ham and you rest him against Man City. Even if he doesn't play against Man City, I don't think anyone's going to be really that bothered.
Yeah, I think when the stakes are still high, I mean, yes, we are safe, but the stakes are still high. We can still have a realistic chance of getting into the top half if we win this game. So if we're going to reach that target and end up with a really good placement at the end of the season, then yeah, this game really is a must-win. Yeah, because there is absolutely no chance of us winning against Man City on Wednesday. Absolutely not, even with him in. Yeah, there's no chance.
Could be typical Newcastle lose to West Ham and then somehow beat Man City after they have about 47 shots on target or something stupid like that. And this is one of your last chances to get your WhatsApps in. It's 07476 497 166. We'll read everyone out probably in the next 10 minutes or so, maybe just a little bit longer, 10, 15 minutes. Right, lads, let's try and agree on a starting 11 for this game. Obviously, the keeper's easy. That'll be the easiest one. Dubravka and net. Maybe Gillespie, who knows? No, in all seriousness, there Dubravka and net. Are we still all in agreement at 4 at the back?
Yeah. It's worked.
It has worked. Right back for me, Javier Manquillo. Anybody disagree?
No, he's been past fit today, so yeah, Manquillo for me.
Rob?
I'm good for Manquillo, yeah.
2 centre-halves. Obviously, there's the concern, Sam, about Jamal Lascelles. If he's 80% fit, do you start him? Because the only I can't really think of many people that can play in that position because I know we've got Fabian Schär, completely forgot about Fabian Schär. I was thinking maybe you might have to put Isaac Hayden there if Schär wasn't available, but
or Kraft.
Or Kraft, yeah, potentially. Would you risk Jamal Lascelles even if he's a bit 50-50, or would you just put Fabian Schär there just as a ready-made replacement?
I know Schär had an absolute stinker against City, but I'm more of the opinion that you just don't risk players in scenarios like this to kind of risk greater injury. So I would probably leave him out. If he's fit, play him by all means, because I'd rather have him there than not. But if he's 50-50 or 80-20, then Schär's more than capable to play against West Ham. You'll probably score a 30-yard screamer.
In your betting opinion, Sam, is it going to be Lascelles or Schär partnering Fernandes?
Lascelles.
Do you agree, Rob?
Yeah, it is a conundrum, and one that I would like more than 30 seconds on. If you get that, yeah. I just think Lascelles, he's got to be one of the first names, even if he's far from 100% fit. I just feel really reluctant about taking him out. I am not comfortable with him out for the team at all. So yeah, stick him in place, partner him up with Fernandes, because that's been a decent combination of late since the restart.
Yeah, so Lascelles and Fernandes with Javier Manquillo right back. I think Danny Rose comes back in at left back, Rob.
Yeah. Once again, it's more or less a reluctant yes. I'm not 100% sure about Rose. I wouldn't be comfortable in making his loan signing a permanent in the summer.
Do you think he's improved?
He's improving now. He's improving.
He's had a couple of games of late, but I guess the reason why I don't really want him as a permanent Newcastle player is because he doesn't like football anymore. He's made that clear. I think that's for another video. But yeah, I just think now might be the time to start using up backups around now.
NFTV Extra is the place for Rob's thoughts on Danny Rose, and you've also got the Greenwood and Mullins show. And we've actually got a confirmed guest for episode 4. I'll tell you what, we'll tell you who it is at the end of the Black and White show to keep you all intrigued to who it might be. Are we thinking 4-2-3-1, gents?
Yeah, 100%.
Rob, you kind of shaking your head a little bit.
I liked how the 4-3-3 worked on Wednesday, and I think because it worked a treat. I know Bournemouth were absolutely abject, but it could have. It did work a treat. I think
that's what happens
the
when
formation
you
on Wednesday.
4-3-3.
I was going to say that's what happens when you have a few cans and beer 52. Percy, see, there you go. You get to see my lovely curtains now. Right, let's talk about the first. I think we've probably just been overruled there, Rob. So we're going to go 4-2-3.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
My two would be Hayden and Shelby. Anybody disagree?
Go for it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Sam's kind of playing around with the fact that somebody else.
I'd like to see Matty play. I want him given game time. Should he sign this contract, I want to see him on the pitch. So
he's lacking much fitness.
Yeah, but saying that, if bad misses recovering into scoring a goal count for anything for Newcastle in the past few games, then Hayden's going to score an absolute worldie on Sunday after that miss at Bournemouth.
Yeah, so Hayden and Shelby then for the two in the middle. Sam doesn't want ASM anywhere near St James's Park pitch. He thinks he needs a rest. Rob, would you play him on the left or right if you were the manager?
I think what really has worked a treat is alternating wings between him and Almiron, swap him around every now and then.
Yeah, Sam, where do you think he's better? Do you think he's better on the right predominantly, or do you think he's better on the left? Because I think he's slightly better on the left.
ASM.
Yeah, I think he could. I just for some reason, like I don't know, just on the left hand side, I just feel like he can just give us a little bit more. It's just my personal opinion. I'd be absolutely fine with him on the right.
I think he works better on the right with Manquillo as opposed to on the left with Rove. I think he struggled on the left against Man City. I know you're playing Man City, but when they alternate, he seems to get more joy when he's playing down the right.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating debate. But I think even like I wouldn't even say that I'm bothered that he plays on the right, but who knows? It's again one of those little things. Miggy Almiron in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sam, you're kind of. I think you want a few changes in there.
Yeah, I do. I want to see Lazaro get a start, but the thing is, Almiron comes back in. He didn't start the other day. Come on for Sean, who was injured, so he only had an hour. So yeah, Almiron plays number 10 for me.
Yeah, I think he has to play number 10. I think in that position, you've seen against Bournemouth, as you can see on your screens, it was a fantastic finish, and that's where he's most comfortable. I think the other side's going to be a little bit of a debate. Now, I'll throw my hat into the ring because obviously Richie was on the bench, so he's obviously the thing. Richie was on the bench, obviously against Bournemouth. He's recovered from his slight knock. I would start Valentino Lazaro. Does anybody disagree?
I think he certainly merits a start, Lazaro, and I really want him to start a game before his loan spell is up. But at the same time, this is going to come at the expense of Richie having to miss another game. Well, I mean, not start another game. Yeah, go on. I'll say Lazaro. Start Lazaro.
I would start Richie against Man City because I think he's gonna. I think it's not the game he probably wants to play because he's going to do a lot of defending, but he'll work hard and he'll give you everything he physically has got. So I would start Richie for the Man City game as well. But Lazaro better on the left, Rowan. Is that ASM? Is that if it's ASM? Literally has got 3 assists so far on the left. Just get those collars up. Just people are saying that I might be right. Just.
It's irrelevant. Doesn't mean he's got to stay on the right. He drifts all over the front line. That's
yeah, I know.
They're all interchangeable. That's the good thing about it.
Oh, 100% completely agree with that. Now, this is probably going to be one of the biggest talk points. Who starts up front? You've got Andy Carroll, you've got Joe Linton, you've got Gale. In particular, the main three at the minute. I'm going to say Gale. Just because the fact he's got 2 and 2 in Premier League at the minute.
I know, but I know with those stats, yeah, they do deserve it. But with Gale, I just have a hunch. Don't ask me why, but I just have a hunch that he is going to miss an almighty sitter in the game if he plays. I just have a hunch for it. I can't explain it, but I just think better stick with Joelinton, hopefully getting one more goal will increase his confidence.
Sam, who do you start off with?
Muto. No. I would probably go for... I'd probably go for Joe Linton.
Yeah. Would you actually?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I
Why?
would.
Why would you say that?
Because Carroll's an impact player. Gale... All right, he's good against the lesser teams, which West Ham obviously are down there, but I still don't class them as a lesser team, if you know what I mean. They've still got a half-decent side. So, Joe Linton, there's green shoots with him, and we need to see as much as possible from him. Got the goal against Sheffield United, and I just think he's worth sticking with for this game.
Well, there you go. Joe Linton gets a nod from Sam. Rob's just kind of gone with Gale, and same as me, Dwight Gale. So Dwight Gale just gets a nod in our 11. But again, I wouldn't be massive bothered Joe Linton starts. We've seen a lot of them this season anyway, so who knows? This is your very last chance to get your WhatsApps in. 07476 497166. Predictions, gents. Rob, I'll let you start with this game against West Ham on Sunday. Where do you think the 3 points be heading to? Are they heading to London, or are they staying at St James's?
I have a feeling this is a potential banana skin. In theory, on paper, we should be winning this fairly comfortably, but we have to be wary. We have to stay focused. We'll only get the win if we're at our very best. That is for sure. I'll say 2-0, but at the same time, you just never know what Newcastle team is going to turn up. If it's a good version of the Newcastle side, then yeah, I can see a fairly solid 2-0.
Sam, you've always been quite confident with Newcastle, in particular at home. When I've ever seen previews or ever seen predictions, you always seem to back Newcastle against anyone at home. Does that continue against West Ham?
I don't know about that. I'm never confident, although I did back us to win at Bournemouth.
Yeah, I always see confidence when it comes to winning like predictions. You always seem to be like, do you know what? I think Newcastle will win.
In this one, my heart says 2-0 win, but there's something in the back of my head saying, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But I am going to go for 2-0. But it wouldn't surprise me if we drew 1-1.
I'm not as confident. I'm going 2-1 Newcastle. I think we will concede. I just think West Ham going at Jared Bowen is another player that you'd like to think that he hopefully keeps quiet, because obviously he was a player that was heavily linked with Newcastle. But I still think Newcastle got enough, and I think ASM will probably be the difference. Lee, if you can get the WhatsApps ready whenever you can. Even better. Let's have a look and see. We've got Kieran. Which three teams do you want or predict to be relegated? Sam, I'll let you start with that one. I think Norwich are already gone, but who do you think the other two are?
Norwich are gone, Bournemouth are gone. I want Villa to go down.
Do you think they'll go down?
I hope so. Before they got the win against Chelsea, I actually thought West Ham were the team to go down, but yeah, I'm going to go with Villa just because I really want that to happen.
I think a lot of Newcastle fans will want that to happen. Rob, why doesn't Bruce play ASM as a striker? Joe Linton is Pony. What's happening with Matty? I know you did, Sam. What's happening with Matty Longstaff as well? We've talked about Matty Longstaff in part one with Rob. But just going back onto ASM as a sole striker or as the number 9, do you think that could work, Rob?
No. ASM's strength is on the wing. His attributes that he has, really huge abundance of pace, skill. He is exactly what you want in a winger. I mean, look at Ronaldo. I know Ronaldo became pretty much a striker later in his career when he started to lose a bit of pace. But right now, ASM, now in his prime, he's just so effective as a winger, not really as a finisher. So he's got to stay out on the wing.
Lawrence Taylor says my 11 would be Dubravka, either Mankiw or Kraft at right back, Shah, Fernandez, Rose, Shelby Hayden, Almiron, Lazaro, Gale, ASM. So very similar to what we say. He also thinks Newcastle are going to win 2-1, like Sam and Rob say. Jay in Atlanta says, win this one, start our best and get this done, and we're truly safe. It's there for the taking. Rest against City. Staying up means Takeover makes Takeover deal a block. Potentially could happen, I suppose. And John just wanted to say, great show, lads. I think that's a perfect way to end it. And he's got all these cans or bottles.
Thank you very
much. As well. So yeah,
he's a good judge. Is John? He's a good judge.
He's a very good judge. Very, very good judge. It can be a 50-50.
He's got a lot of bottle.
He has. Sunday, 2:15 kickoff, is it, or 2:10? One of those two times.
2:15.
Yeah, 2:15 with a second game on Sky. But all the reaction will be straight after Newcastle versus West Ham here on Newcastle Fans TV. We'll have the live fan reaction. We'll also have scoring the players. We'll have a view from the opposition, and we'll also have the last word with Lee as well. So yeah, it's going to be an entertaining Sunday afternoon. Hopefully Newcastle can get all 3 points and move on to 45 points, which would be the same as it was last year under a famous manager, Rafa Benitez. Less said about him. Probably the better for Steve Bruce, shall we say. My thanks to Rob Spiro.
Thank you.
My thanks to Sam Milner.
Cheers, mate.
And the episode 4 for the Green and Wilderness show is next Thursday, and the special guest is the semi-finalist of the World Snooker Championship, Gary Wilson, who's from Wallsend. He will be our guest. He'll tell us all about the time at the Crucible and what his future plans are for the rest of 2020. Hopefully he continue his good form from last year. So that is a little spoiler for you in regards to the Greenwood and Mulliner show. But yeah, this is where we'll end the Black and White show. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll talk about Newcastle getting some good results against West Ham, and who knows, maybe even against Manchester City. But yeah, thanks for your involvement and your interaction tonight, and we'll see you all on Sunday.
You're watching the Black and White show with Newcastle Fans TV.
So that was fantastic. And we are going to be bringing you a few sponsors. And the first one that we're talking about today is 3 Retro. I've got Owen with me, and I've also got Sam with me. Owen, have you ever purchased something from 3 Retro?
Yeah, I've purchased from 3 Retro before. Their shirt quality is absolutely amazing. You'll find a range of shirts on there. Old shirts from the 90s, and even older than that, you can find ones from the 70s on there as well. Good quality shirts.
I have to agree, and the delivery is actually really quick considering we've just came in and out of a pandemic as well. I'm currently wearing mine's from the 93-94 season. Feels nice. You can get loads of different sizes. You can get medium, you can get extra large. It goes all the way up. And the great thing about 3 Retro, Sam, is that they deliver worldwide as well.
Isn't it just? I myself plumped for the 1995 brown ale one, the one and only, after my lovely mother donated mine to a charity shop some years ago. I needed to replace it. They're extortionate on eBay. So 3 Retro, very reasonably priced, quick delivery, absolutely seamless.
And it was only £30 for that shirt, which is an absolute bargain. If you spend over £50, you get free delivery as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And now more and more shirts, Owen, more retro shirts in particular, are becoming more and more popular. You see a lot of fans wearing away shirts and home shirts going back 20 plus years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for someone who wasn't born in that era, it's brilliant to see and brilliant to get hold of those shirts from that era, because they are the most beautiful. Yeah, I don't think we've had that amazing quality of shirt since maybe the early 2000s. So it's brilliant to be able to get your hands on them for a reasonable price with quick delivery. What more could you want?
Brilliant. Owen's a lot younger than us too, me and Sam. But on the website, they don't just do Newcastle United stuff. So if you've got friends and family in a divided household of different fans, they do several of other clubs. They also do national kits. We've got a lot of England shirts available as well. There's a link in the description. Get yourself onto 3 Retro. Get a bargain whilst you're there.
Welcome back to the Black and White show with Newcastle Fans TV.